The vibrant colors of the festival filled the air with a sense of joy and celebration as the Earth colony bustled with laughter and music under the radiant sun. Families gathered around booths displaying handmade crafts, while children chased each other in a playful game of tag. The aroma of delicious food wafted through the streets, inviting everyone to indulge in culinary delights. It was a day of unity and hope, a reminder of the resilience of humanity in the vastness of space. As the festivities reached their peak, a sudden hush fell over the crowd like a wave as a sleek alien craft descended from the sky, its metallic surface glinting ominously against the blue backdrop. The ship hovered silently before landing with a soft thud on the outskirts of the colony, sending a ripple of curiosity and concern through the attendees. Whispers filled the air as people exchanged nervous glances, uncertain of what this unexpected arrival might mean. Moments later, the ramp of the craft descended, revealing an imposing figure cloaked in intricate robes that shimmered with an otherworldly glow. The alien sovereign stepped forward, her presence commanding instant respect and awe from the gathered crowd. She radiated authority, her sharp features and piercing eyes suggesting a depth of experience and wisdom that both intrigued and intimidated those who gazed upon her. As she approached the colony leaders, the crowd remained silent, their eyes wide with anticipation. The leader of the colony stepped forward, heart pounding in his chest, as he prepared to address the unexpected visitor. She spoke with a voice that resonated like music, yet carried an underlying urgency that sent a chill through everyone present. "I come to you in dire need," she declared, her eyes scanning the crowd as she continued. "My name is Zareth. I am sovereign of the Lorathian Empire, and I require your assistance for a crucial mission." The weight of her words hung in the air as murmurs erupted among the colonists, confusion and apprehension mingling with intrigue. The leader took a step back, trying to process the implications of her statement. What could an alien sovereign want with their humble colony? Zareth continued, her expression unwavering. "The fate of my people depends on your cooperation. I must travel to the distant star system of Zeta Prime, but I cannot use my own ships." The crowd buzzed with speculation as the sovereign's words sank in. "Why would she reject her advanced fleet? Why turn to humans for transportation? We possess ancient technology that is now a threat to my people," she explained. "My enemies have infiltrated my ranks, and my own ships have become a liability." The gravity of her revelation deepened the crowd's concern. Zareth's vulnerability was palpable, and her need for help sparked a flicker of empathy among the colonists. After a moment of hesitation, the colony leader stepped forward once more. "Our ship is old and small, but if you truly need our assistance, we will do what we can." Zareth nodded, a hint of relief crossing her face. "Thank you," she replied. "I know this alliance may seem strange, but the bond we forged today could change the course of our destinies." As the crowd absorbed her words, the excitement and trepidation intertwined within them. They were on the brink of something unprecedented, a journey that would not only test their resolve, but also challenge the very fabric of their understanding of the universe. The festival atmosphere slowly faded into the background, replaced by a sense of purpose as preparations for the journey began. The stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined, and the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. But in that moment, unity prevailed as humans and an alien sovereign set the stage for a new chapter in their intertwined fates. As the excitement of the festival faded, a palpable tension hung in the air of the colony. The settlers rallied around the preparations, their minds buzzing with questions about their unexpected guest. Zareth's presence was both a promise of adventure and a harbinger of danger, creating a cocktail of anticipation and anxiety among the colonists. The leader called an emergency meeting to discuss the next steps, and the council gathered in the community hall, their faces illuminated by flickering lights. Zareth stood at the front, her regal posture commanding attention. The room was filled with the murmurs of disbelief and apprehension as the colony's leaders exchanged uncertain glances. Finally, the leader spoke up, breaking the silence. "How do we know we can trust you?" he asked the sovereign, his voice steady but tinged with skepticism. Zareth met his gaze unwaveringly. "I understand your concerns," she replied. It is difficult to trust an alien ruler who arrives unannounced, but I assure you my intentions are genuine. My people face an existential threat, and I need your help to navigate this perilous situation." A member of the council chimed in, "What do you mean you need our help? If your ships are so advanced, why not use them?" Zareth took a deep breath, her expression somber. "I have been betrayed by my own kin. My enemies have corrupted our technology and turned it against us. My fleet has become a prison instead of a means of escape. I must rely on the simplicity of your vessel." The colonists listened intently as she explained the intricacies of her situation. The stakes were higher than they had initially realized. She spoke of her home planet, its rich history, and the delicate balance of power that had been disrupted by an insidious coup. It became clear that the fate of the Lorathian Empire, and possibly the entire region of space, depended on her success. The leader looked around the room, gauging the reactions of his council members. Some were captivated by Zareth's story, while others remained wary. He could sense the hesitation in the air. Would it be wise to assist an alien sovereign when their own safety might be at risk? With a nod of determination, he spoke again. "If we agree to help you, what will it entail?" Zareth's eyes sparkled with a mix of hope and urgency. "You will pilot your ship to Zeta Prime, where I will negotiate with the council there. I need to convince them to unite against the common threat." The council erupted in discussion, debating the potential risks and rewards of such a venture. Finally, the leader raised his hand, demanding silence. "I believe we can help you, but we need more than just your word. We need a plan." Zareth nodded, her expression serious. "I can provide you with the information about the threat we face, but we must leave quickly. Time is of the essence." As the gravity of the situation set in, the council members began to mobilize, drawing up a plan to prepare their ship for the journey. Zareth shared her knowledge of interstellar navigation and the potential routes they could take to avoid detection by her enemies. The leader felt a strange sense of camaraderie forming with Zareth despite their differences. They were both fighting for their people, and their destinies were now intertwined in a way he had never anticipated. As preparations continued, Zareth began to assist the crew in retrofitting their ship, providing insights into how to enhance its capabilities using a blend of human ingenuity and Lorathian technology. The atmosphere in the colony shifted from doubt to determination as they rallied together for a common cause. With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher and the urgency deepened. The settlers felt a spark of hope igniting within them as they prepared to embark on a journey that would test their strength and resolve in ways they had never imagined. They were no longer just a colony on the fringes of space. They were now a crucial part of a larger cosmic struggle that would shape the fate of two worlds. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the colony transformed into a hive of activity. The once celebratory atmosphere now buzzed with purpose and urgency as the settlers rallied to prepare their aging ship for the unprecedented journey. Zareth moved through the crowd with a grace that captivated those around her. Her presence, a blend of authority and warmth that inspired confidence even amid uncertainty. The leader gathered the crew in the ship's hangar, a spacious area filled with tools and machinery that had seen better days. "We must work quickly," he said, his voice steady as he addressed the assembled team. "Zareth has provided crucial information about our mission, and we need to act fast." Zareth stepped forward, her voice clear and commanding. "I will assist you in enhancing your ship's capabilities. I have knowledge of technology that can improve your vessel's performance and give us a fighting chance against my enemies." A murmur of intrigue rippled through the crew as they exchanged glances. The leader felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension at the prospect of combining human and Lorathian technology. Zareth's reputation as a skilled sovereign had preceded her, and now they had the chance to witness it firsthand. The first task was to assess the ship's systems. Zareth led the team as they inspected the engines and navigation controls, revealing hidden compartments and outdated technology that could be upgraded. She pointed out weaknesses in the ship's hull design and suggested modifications that could enhance its durability in combat. The crew listened intently, taking notes and asking questions, eager to absorb her knowledge. Slowly, the initial wariness began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of shared purpose as they recognized the potential of their collaboration. Together, they worked long into the night, crafting plans and assembling tools, weaving a tapestry of innovation and hope. As hours passed and the stars twinkled overhead, the hangar buzzed with activity. Zareth's guidance proved invaluable as she introduced the crew to alien materials and techniques they had never encountered. They crafted makeshift shields and recalibrated the engines to increase speed while incorporating advanced Lorathian components that glimmered with an ethereal light. Amid the chaos, a sense of camaraderie blossomed among the crew and Zareth. They shared stories of their worlds, their struggles and dreams, forming bonds that transcended their differences. Laughter mingled with the sounds of clanking metal as they worked side by side, united by a common goal. But as they toiled away, the underlying tension of their mission loomed like a shadow. The reality of what lay ahead weighed heavily on everyone's minds. Each crew member was acutely aware that they were not merely preparing for a journey, but stepping into a conflict that could reshape their destinies. As dawn approached, Zareth gathered the crew for a brief moment of respite. The leader stood beside her, looking out at the ship they had worked tirelessly to prepare. "I know we have faced many challenges in these past days," he said, "but I believe we are ready to embark on this journey." Zareth nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "Together, we will confront the darkness that threatens us." She paused, drawing in a deep breath. "The time for hesitation is over." The crew felt a surge of energy as they looked at their vessel transformed into something greater than they had ever envisioned. It was no longer just a ship, but a symbol of unity, a vessel forged in the fires of adversity. As the final preparations were made, Zareth shared a parting ritual from her culture, a gesture of goodwill and strength that bonded them as allies. The crew joined hands, forming a circle around Zareth as she spoke words of hope and courage, invoking the spirits of their ancestors to guide them on their journey. With hearts racing and spirits lifted, they prepared to depart, knowing that the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but fueled by the belief that together they could overcome any obstacle. As they boarded the ship, the weight of uncertainty remained, but so did the flicker of hope, lighting the way forward into the unknown cosmos. With the engines humming beneath them and the ship's modified systems glowing with an otherworldly light, the crew felt a mixture of exhilaration and anxiety as they prepared for departure. The leader stood at the helm alongside Zareth, who focused intently on the navigation console, her fingers dancing over the controls with a grace that suggested familiarity with such technology. Outside the viewport, the stars twinkled invitingly, a vast tapestry of possibilities awaiting them. As the ship lifted off the ground, the colony below became a blur of colors and shapes, fading into the backdrop of their mission. Zareth turned to the crew, her expression a blend of determination and urgency. "We must stay vigilant," she said. "The enemies of my empire are cunning, and they will not hesitate to strike." The ship surged into the blackness of space, the thrill of the unknown electrifying the air within the cabin. The crew settled into their roles, navigating the delicate balance of human instinct and Lorathian knowledge. As they entered the deeper reaches of space, the familiar sights of their home planet vanished, replaced by the mesmerizing beauty of the cosmos. But the journey was not without its challenges. As they approached a region known for its treacherous space anomalies, the ship shook violently, alarms blaring throughout the cabin. The leader gripped the controls, trying to steady the vessel while Zareth shouted instructions, her voice rising above the chaos. "Adjust the stabilizers," she commanded, eyes on the readouts. The crew sprang into action, their training kicking in as they worked together to regain control. With Zareth guiding them, they navigated through swirling gravitational fields and electromagnetic storms that threatened to tear them apart. The ship pitched and rolled, but their resolve remained unbroken as they fought to keep it steady. After what felt like an eternity, the turbulence finally subsided, leaving them gasping for breath. The crew exchanged relieved glances, adrenaline coursing through their veins. "That was just a taste of what lies ahead," Zareth warned, her expression serious. As they regained their composure, the ship continued its journey through the vastness of space, the stars streaking by in a blur of light. Conversations sparked among the crew, sharing stories and laughter as they began to bond over their shared experiences. The atmosphere lightened as they realized they were all in this together, a ragtag band of unlikely allies. However, as they moved further from the safety of their home, a sense of foreboding crept in. Zareth's warnings about her enemies loomed larger with each passing moment. The crew began to notice subtle signs of danger, a flicker of light in the distance, an unusual vibration in the ship's hull. Suddenly, a warning alarm blared louder than before, cutting through their camaraderie. "Incoming vessel," Zareth shouted, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the readouts on her console. "The enemy has found us." The crew's hearts raced as they scrambled to their stations, adrenaline surging through their bodies once more. The ship's sensors painted a grim picture, a fleet of sleek alien ships closing in on their position, weapons primed and ready for battle. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," the leader commanded, his voice steady but urgent as he looked to Zareth for guidance. She nodded, her face a mask of determination. "We need to outmaneuver them and find a safe path to Zeta Prime." As the enemy ships drew closer, the crew's unity was put to the ultimate test. With Zareth's expertise guiding their actions, they worked in unison, plotting a course that would allow them to slip through the enemy formation. "Hold your breath," the leader said as they executed a daring maneuver, their ship spinning and twisting as they navigated the chaos of space. The thrill of the chase ignited a fire within them. They were no longer just humans or an alien sovereign. They were a cohesive unit fighting for their survival. With the enemy hot on their heels, they pushed the ship to its limits, the engines roaring as they soared deeper into the unknown, the weight of their mission hanging heavy in the air. The ship surged through the void, a streak of light darting between the menacing silhouettes of the pursuing enemy fleet. Alarms blared in a chaotic symphony, but amid the turmoil, the crew found an unexpected rhythm, their shared determination igniting a fierce resolve. Zareth stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the readouts, her expression a mix of concentration and urgency. "We're almost through," she called over the noise. "Trust in your instincts." The leader gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white, as they wove through the enemy vessels. He could feel the tension in the air thickening with every passing moment. The enemy ships were relentless, their sleek forms slicing through the darkness as they sought to close the gap. As they neared an asteroid field, Zareth's voice cut through the tension. "We can use this to our advantage." Without hesitation, the leader executed a sharp turn, steering the ship into the field. The crew held their breath as they maneuvered among the massive rocks, swirling debris, and hidden dangers. The enemy fleet followed closely, their ships firing weapons that illuminated the darkness with bursts of energy. "We need to split their formations," Zareth instructed, her eyes flashing with intensity. The crew worked together, each member focusing on their tasks, the navigator plotting their course, while the engineer adjusted the power distribution to maximize their speed. The ship rattled as they narrowly avoided collisions with asteroids, the adrenaline pumping through their veins. Then it happened. The ship shuddered violently as a blast from an enemy ship grazed their hull. "Damage report," the leader shouted as he fought to maintain control. The engineer rushed to the console, assessing the impact. "We've lost power in the aft section. We need to stabilize it, or we'll lose our maneuverability." Zareth moved swiftly, her mind racing as she surveyed the damage. "The energy shielding is compromised. We need to reroute power from the engines." The crew sprang into action, each member's heart pounding as they executed Zareth's plan. They redirected energy like a dance of desperation and ingenuity, feeling the strain on the ship as it struggled to maintain speed. As they pushed through the asteroid field, they began to feel a flicker of hope. The enemy fleet struggled to navigate the treacherous terrain behind them, their ships colliding with asteroids and one another in a chaotic display. But as the last enemy ship vanished behind the rocky barriers, the atmosphere shifted. The crew exhaled a collective sigh of relief, but the shadows of uncertainty lingered. Once they had escaped the immediate danger, Zareth gathered the crew in the central chamber, her expression serious. "We've bought ourselves some time, but we're not out of danger yet." The leader nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "What do we do now?" he asked. Zareth took a moment, her gaze steady. "You deserve to know the truth about my enemies and why this mission is so critical." She hesitated as if weighing the consequences of her revelation. The crew leaned in eager for answers, the tension palpable. "My enemies are not just seeking power," she began. "They want to eliminate me, and anyone who stands in their way. My position as sovereign threatens their ambitions, and they will stop at nothing to see me fall." The crew exchanged glances, their apprehension growing. The implications were clear. They were caught in a political struggle far more complex than they had anticipated. "I feared that I might never reach Zeta Prime alone," she continued, "but with your help we have a chance to unite our forces and resist them." The leader spoke up. "What exactly do they plan to do if they succeed?" Zareth's eyes darkened. "Their ultimate goal is to harness the Lorathian technology for themselves. They intend to enslave my people and use our resources for their gain." The crew felt a chill at her words. This was no longer just about a mission. It was about survival, not only for Zareth, but for her people and perhaps the entire region of space. "We can't let that happen," the leader said, determination sparking in his eyes. "We have to reach Zeta Prime and warn them." Zareth nodded, a sense of renewed purpose washing over the group. "Together, we can forge an alliance that stands against this darkness." With the weight of the universe on their shoulders, the crew steeled themselves for the challenges ahead. They were no longer just a human colony and an alien sovereign. They were champions of a greater cause, united against an impending threat, ready to face whatever lay in the unknown depths of space. As the ship glided through the vast expanse of space, a tense calm settled over the crew. They had managed to evade the enemy fleet, but the threat still loomed large in their minds. Zareth's revelations had transformed their mission into a race against time. Each member felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on them as they prepared for the next leg of their journey. In the quiet moments between tasks, whispers of strategy filled the air, camaraderie blossoming in the face of adversity. Yet, amid the newfound unity, a sense of unease crept in. The leader sensed a growing tension between some crew members, subtle glances exchanged in hushed conversations. He knew that trust was vital in their situation, but doubts were beginning to surface. One evening, as the crew gathered for a brief meeting to discuss their route to Zeta Prime, the atmosphere shifted. Zareth had just finished outlining their plan when a commotion erupted at the back of the chamber. The engineer, his face pale and frantic, rushed forward. Fear etched into his features. "We've got a problem," he exclaimed. "What is it?" the leader asked, his heart sinking. "There's a breach in the ship's systems. Someone is sabotaging our equipment." Gasps rippled through the crew as they exchanged startled looks. The leader turned to Zareth, who immediately stepped forward, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "We need to find out who it is," she said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. As the crew began to split up to investigate the source of the sabotage, the leader felt a knot tightening in his stomach. They had come so far, and now the threat could be lurking among them. He focused on the engineer. "Can you trace the interference?" "I'll try, but it's sophisticated. It's like someone knew exactly how to bypass our security systems." They moved quickly to the control room, where screens flickered with data. The engineer's fingers flew over the console as he attempted to isolate the problem. After a tense few moments, he frowned and turned to the leader. "The interference is coming from within the ship itself." The leader's heart raced as he exchanged glances with Zareth. "This is worse than I thought." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship, and the lights flickered ominously. The crew rushed back to the central chamber, where they found chaos. One of their own had turned against them. The communications officer stood at the center of the room, a blaster in hand, pointing it at Zareth. "You were never meant to lead us," he spat, anger boiling in his voice. "The only reason we're in this mess is because of you." The leader stepped forward, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Hold on, we can talk about this." "Talk." Zareth's voice was icy. "You think you can betray me and still have a place among us?" The officer sneered. "You're a pawn in a larger game. We should have never trusted you." The tension escalated as crew members moved to protect Zareth, instinctively forming a barrier around her. The leader felt his pulse quicken as he assessed the situation. This betrayal threatened not just their mission, but their very survival. "We can work together," the leader pleaded, "but not like this. You're making a mistake." In that moment, the engineer shouted from the console, "The ship is losing power to the weapons systems. We're vulnerable." The officer's resolve wavered for a split second, but then he tightened his grip on the blaster. "I won't let you control me." With adrenaline surging, the leader seized the moment and lunged forward, tackling the officer to the ground. The weapon skidded away as they wrestled for control in a chaotic struggle. The crew erupted into action, some trying to subdue the officer while others rushed to secure the weapon. Zareth stood back, her eyes blazing with intensity as she assessed the chaos unfolding before her. After a fierce struggle, the crew managed to overpower the officer, pinning him down. The leader looked around, panting, the weight of the betrayal heavy on his heart. "Why?" Zareth asked, her voice steady yet filled with disappointment. "He was promised power," the leader explained, glancing at the officer, whose eyes flashed with fury. "You were a means to an end." With the immediate threat contained, the crew exhaled a collective sigh of relief. But the tension lingered. They were now not only battling external enemies, but also the treachery within their ranks. As they secured the officer and began to restore order, Zareth's expression shifted from anger to resolve. "We cannot let this betrayal define us," she said. "We must forge ahead and unite against the darkness that seeks to consume us." The crew nodded in agreement, their spirits bolstered by Zareth's strength. They were a team forged in adversity, and they would not let fear or betrayal tear them apart. Together, they would face whatever challenges awaited them in the cold depths of space. With the immediate threat of betrayal behind them, the crew gathered in the central chamber to regroup. The atmosphere was charged, a mix of anger and determination swirling in the air. The leader stood at the forefront, his eyes scanning the faces of his team, each marked by the turmoil they had just faced. Zareth, though shaken, remained composed, her presence a steadying force amidst the chaos. "We cannot let this setback deter us," the leader began, his voice firm. "We have a mission to complete and lives depend on our success." Zareth nodded, her gaze fierce. "We must stay united. If we are to confront the forces that threaten us together, we can turn this crisis into an opportunity." The crew exchanged determined glances, their unity strengthening in the face of adversity. They had fought together and had survived the turmoil. Now they needed to focus on the next steps, and Zareth had vital information to share. "I've analyzed our route to Zeta Prime," she explained, her tone shifting to one of urgency. "We will encounter multiple factions along the way, some hostile, and some who may be willing to join our cause." "What if we encounter more enemies?" the engineer asked, his brow furrowed. Zareth met his gaze directly. "If we can convince the right factions to ally with us, we can build a force strong enough to resist the coup." The leader felt a surge of hope as he listened. The prospect of allies invigorated their mission. But they needed to approach this carefully. "How do we convince them to trust us?" he asked. Zareth paused, considering her words. "We will need to prove our intentions through action, show them that we are united in purpose and willing to fight for what is right." As the crew began to strategize, they laid out their path, discussing potential allies and the dangers they might face. With each plan discussed, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose igniting within them. They plotted a course toward the first potential ally, a rogue faction known for their strength in battle and influence in the region. As they navigated through space, the leader's thoughts drifted to the betrayal they had faced. They could not afford another insider threat. He glanced at Zareth, who seemed to sense his concern. "We will keep a close watch on one another," she said, her voice steady. "Trust is crucial, but so is vigilance." The crew worked tirelessly over the next few days, preparing for their approach to the faction. Zareth shared stories of her people and the urgency of their mission, instilling a sense of camaraderie and urgency in the crew. They forged a plan that highlighted their strengths and united purpose. As they neared the rogue faction's territory, a sense of tension enveloped the ship once more. The crew took their positions, their resolve strengthened by the trials they had faced together. The leader stood at the helm, his heart pounding with anticipation. "We're approaching their coordinates," he announced, eyes sharp. "Everyone." Zareth stood beside him, her expression fierce as she prepared for the meeting. Remember to emphasize our shared interests, she advised. As they entered the faction's space, a squadron of ships approached their vessel, weapons primed and ready. A transmission crackled through the comms. Identify yourselves. The leader stepped forward into the comm link. This is the crew of the Starfire. We seek an audience with your leaders. The squadron hesitated, but soon one of the ships moved closer, a heavily armed vessel with markings indicating its allegiance. The voice that came through was gruff. We don't take kindly to strangers. Zareth took a breath, stepping closer to the communicator. We come bearing urgent news. We are facing a common enemy and seek to unite against them. A moment of silence hung in the air before the voice replied, we'll give you one chance to prove your worth. Prepare to be boarded. The crew exchanged nervous glances, adrenaline surging once more. This was their opportunity to gain allies, but the stakes were higher than ever. The leader turned to Zareth, determination set in his features. We'll show them we're not to be underestimated, he said. As the boarding party prepared to enter their ship, the crew stood ready, hearts pounding, aware that the next few moments could change the course of their mission. They were standing on the precipice of a new alliance, ready to confront whatever challenges awaited them. United in purpose, they prepared to face their potential allies, the weight of their mission resting heavily on their shoulders. As the airlock hissed open, the crew braced themselves for the unknown. The atmosphere crackled with tension, the crew exchanging resolute glances. Zareth took the lead, her regal posture conveying both strength and determination. The leader stood beside her, ready to support her every move. A squad of armed figures stepped through the airlock, their expressions wary but alert. The leader of the boarding party, a towering figure clad in dark armor, surveyed the crew with a piercing gaze. You claim to seek an alliance, he said, his voice low and gravelly. What proof do you have that you're worth our time? Zareth stepped forward, her voice steady. We come from the colony of New Terra, seeking to unite against a common threat. An insidious coup has taken hold of my empire, and if we do not act together, we risk losing everything. The leader of the faction crossed his arms, a skeptical expression on his face. So what makes you think we'd want to join your fight? The crew held their breath, knowing the importance of this moment. The leader interjected, we have faced betrayal and danger in our journey thus far. He gestured to the engineer who had bravely fought to maintain the ship's systems. We have skills and knowledge that can benefit you. The armored figure considered their words, his eyes narrowing. Show us your strength, then, he challenged. Without hesitation, Zareth stepped back, signaling for the crew to demonstrate their capabilities. The engineer, confident from the recent trials, showcased the ship's upgraded systems, illustrating the improvements they had made. He highlighted the modifications that would enhance both speed and weaponry, drawing intrigued glances from the faction members. Impressive, the leader admitted, his tone shifting slightly. But words are cheap, another faction member retorted. We need action. The leader felt the weight of the moment. We are prepared to offer our assistance in battle against the coup, he declared. Our ship may be small, but our resolve is fierce. With the stakes laid bare, the faction leader turned to his comrades, exchanging murmurs. After a tense moment, he spoke again. All right, we'll give you a chance to prove yourselves. Zareth's expression hardened with resolve. Together, we can face the coming storm. As they prepared to join forces, the crew learned about the faction's recent skirmishes against the coup's forces. The faction had been gathering intel and resources, but their efforts had been stifled by the relentless pursuit of the enemy. It became clear that together they could amplify their strength and make a meaningful impact. In the days that followed, the crew and their new allies worked tirelessly to forge an unbreakable bond. They shared strategies and resources, integrating their strengths to form a united front. Trust began to build as they trained side by side, each member bringing unique skills to the table. Yet, amidst the camaraderie, a shadow lingered. The threat of the coup still loomed large. Zareth organized briefings, sharing intelligence about their enemies' movements and intentions. The crew knew they had to be ready for whatever might come next. As the final preparations took shape, Zareth called the crew together. We stand on the precipice of something greater than ourselves, she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. Together, we are not just fighting for survival, but for a future. The crew felt a surge of energy, their resolve solidified by her words. They were no longer just a ragtag group of settlers and an alien sovereign. They were champions of justice, defenders of freedom ready to confront the darkness together. When the day of battle arrived, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The ships, now united in purpose, launched into the vast expanse of space, ready to face the enemy head-on. As they engaged in combat, the crew fought with a fierce determination, knowing that they were part of something larger than themselves. The battle was fierce, but their combined strength proved formidable. Zareth's leadership and the crew's ingenuity turned the tide as they executed daring maneuvers and counterattacks. They fought not only for their survival, but for the hope of a brighter future. In the aftermath of the conflict, as the dust settled, the crew stood together united in victory. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged stronger, their bond forged in the fires of battle. Together, they had proven that even in the darkest of times hope could flourish and unity could conquer all. The leader looked at Zareth, gratitude in his eyes. "We did it," he said. Zareth smiled, a sense of triumph radiating from her. "This is only the beginning," she replied. "Together, we will build a new future, a future where all can thrive." And with that, they turned their eyes to the stars, ready to chart a new course in the ever-expanding cosmos, a course defined by unity, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to fight for what was right.